Notably absent from events this weekend, Prince Harry, 40, and his wife, Meghan Markle, 43, were not present for the annual Festival of Remembrance or joined the rest of the royal family for Remembrance Sunday at the cenotaph. On a poignant occasion such as Remembrance Sunday, long-standing royal commentator believes Prince Harry will undoubtedly be regretful not being able to publicly mark the country's war dead in the UK with his family. Richard Fitzwilliam spoke exclusively to Express.co.uk about Harry's absence, as the royal family displayed unity this weekend. He said, "For Harry, there will undoubtedly be mixed feelings. He is still part of the British military family and its major act of homage to the fallen in Whitehall, where his father, the King, leads the nation's homage to the fallen. He will be absent in person but undoubtedly present in spirit." He added, "Each year on Remembrance Sunday he and Meghan commemorate it by doing something which they regard as appropriate for the occasion. Last year, they visited the Navy SEALs Foundation facility in California in advance of the actual date. This year, Prince Harry wrote a heartfelt letter of support to bereaved military children and young people supported by Scotty's Little Soldiers, a charity of which he is a global ambassador. Scotty's is dedicated to supporting children and young people, 0 to 25 years, who have experienced the death of a parent who served in the British Armed Forces." Mr. Fitzwilliam said, "This year's letter was especially personal as he referenced his mother's death, which so traumatized him." In a letter to youngsters supported by the charity, the Duke said it can be overwhelming and isolating to lose a parent. He also acknowledged remembrance is not only time to honor the extraordinary sacrifices made by our service members but also to recognize the impact these sacrifices have on families. Mr. Fitzwilliam added, "Each year on Remembrance Sunday he and Meghan commemorate it by doing something which they regard as appropriate for the occasion. Last year they visited the Navy SEALs Foundation facility in California in advance of the actual date." He also said the Duke of Sussex would have found the service difficult to watch, owing to his military links. He said, "Prince Harry has always said that the decade he spent in the military was the making of him. His 2 tours of duty in Afghanistan were undoubtedly a success and his popularity at that time was huge in Britain. On an occasion like Remembrance Sunday, his thoughts, from California, will undoubtedly be regretful." Richard added, he first laid a wreath at the cenotaph in 2009. In 2020, after he and Meghan had stepped down as senior working royals, his military patronages were removed and he was, save in special circumstances such as the vigil in Westminster Hall for Queen Elizabeth, not permitted to wear uniform at ceremonial events. He sent a wreath requesting it be laid at the cenotaph in his name in 2020, but this was reportedly denied by palace officials. Harry served in the army for 10 years, including 2 tours of Afghanistan, but when he quit as a senior royal, he was subsequently stripped of his military titles and patronages. This means he is. On November 10, King Charles led the nation in a 2-minute silence on Remembrance Sunday to commemorate the fallen. The King laid the first wreath at the foot of the cenotaph, which featured 41 open-style poppy petals made from bonded fabric. Wearing his Royal Navy uniform of the Admiral of the Fleet with greatcoat, poppy and sword, the King was joined by members of the royal family, with his son Prince William and siblings Princess Anne and Prince Edward standing beside him at the cenotaph. Princess Kate stood on the balcony of the Foreign Office with Sophie, the Duchess of Edinburgh, and watched 10,000 veterans participate in the Royal British Legion's Veteran Parade. The annual service is a fixture in the royal calendar and is held to mark the armistice of the First World War and all other conflicts involving British and Commonwealth forces.